Kind of like this music. Here we are. Different. It's not bigger than 12. It's instant reaction here on Iowa Everywhere. Don't let my face and Derek Duke's face fool you. This is a bonus edition, an emergency podcast of the highest degree of the firing of Mike Gundy in Stillwater, Oklahoma. I'm Jake Brend with the Bigger Than 12 podcast here on Iowa Everywhere, joined by Derek Duke, coincidentally also with the Bigger Than 12 podcast here on Iowa Everywhere.
What a coincidence.
I mean, they could have just done it when it would have been easier on Sunday. We wouldn't have had to do two podcasts, but everyone gets to hear your voice again, Derek. So congrats to the people. What are your initial thoughts about 6 hours later after the firing of Gundy?
Well, my first thought was, damn you, Mike Gundy, for making me work on a Tuesday evening. But, I mean, good for Oklahoma State for making the move. I can't believe they actually did it. And, Jake, I got to give you credit. You called this after last season, and I don't think either one of us thought it was going to happen just a few games in. I think we all had that feeling that Gundy wasn't going to be brought back in 26, whether it would be him stepping down or getting fired after being at a place for, 20 years? I didn't think this school would actually fire him 3 games in. At the very least, I thought they'd wait till the end of the year, but they didn't.
Well, so thank you for giving me credit, and I want to give myself a little credit, but also a little criticism, because I said, yeah, I don't think Gundy's going to make it to 2026. I said that last year. I also have said a couple different times this year on the show that I didn't think he was going to make it to the end of the year. And then on the beat reporters over on Cyclone Fanatic, I brought that up, and our good friend Ben Hutchens said that no, even if it gets super ugly, they're going to make it a ceremonial thing. They're going to give him the kind of I don't know what the exact treatment would be, but they're going to let him go out on his own terms. It'll be a mutual parting of the ways. They'll put his name on the field, and they'll give him a send-off in the final game of the year. Both parties go different directions. That did not happen.
No.
And I'm pleased to announce that we have Ben Hutchens right here in the Channel Seed Studios. Oklahoma State graduate. He works at the Quad City Times covering the Iowa State Cyclones as good as anybody. Ben, I was sitting behind you when this news broke during Taylor Mauser's press conference. What was your reaction as I just kind of gave some of the backstory that you did not see this coming?
Yeah, the group chats were going crazy, Jake. I think that's how I found out is bing, 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 bing notification, because, wow, I did not see this coming on a Tuesday. You know, like you said, this felt more like a Sunday move. You're going to make a snap decision after an ugly loss to Tulsa. You could do it on Saturday because that game was on a Friday. But Oklahoma State waits until Tuesday to fire Mike Gundy. Guys, the only way I can characterize this as, somebody who lived in Oklahoma since 2013, went to Oklahoma State, covered Mike Gundy for 3 years where he had a lot of success, this is a sad day for Oklahoma State University. It wasn't supposed to end like this. Your head coach of 21 years who is Oklahoma State University football. If you go on vacation and you have an Oklahoma State shirt on, people don't bring up, the team. They bring up the head coach. They bring up the guy who's the figurehead of it. And it was not supposed to end like this. Mike Gundy's name was supposed to go on the field. He was supposed to have a statue. I think those things will come, but right now it's gotten a little ugly.
Yeah, so that was my next thought, and Derek, feel free to jump in as well. What is the relationship like in the near future between Gundy and Oklahoma State? Because, I mean, part of the reason I think we're here is Gundy is a stubborn person, and it's kind of Gundy's way or the highway. I can't imagine that these two parties are going to be on good terms in the future, right?
I can't imagine so. Chad Weiberg, the Oklahoma State athletic director, had the meeting today with Mike Gundy this morning where he said it went amicably. He said Mike Gundy handled it with class. I probably think Mike Gundy's at his ranch right now, sitting back, drinking he always calls it a Coca-Cola. I think there's probably something in his Coca-Cola tonight, and just kind of taking it all in. Interestingly, Weiberg, the athletic director, he was asked all the questions. The press conference had concluded, Jake, and Weiberg made one last point. He said, look, there's going to be a day in the near future when Mike Gundy gets his flowers. I think that day will probably be up to Mike Gundy. Whenever Mike's ready to come back and accept all of those flowers for what he's done for this university, I think will be the day that it gets done.
So now I kind of want to get into like what we thought was going to happen, what we didn't think was going to happen. That's all done now. Derek, do you think that it's going to make a massive difference to pull the plug on September 23rd as compared to maybe November 30th?
I mean, unless they have a candidate in mind that they're going to go out and go get right now, I probably didn't see the need to make this move, considering the fact that Ben just mentioned he's been there for 21 years. I would have thought at the very least, no matter how, even if they went winless this season, he would finish out the year, kind of end it on his own terms, whether he resigns and steps down or they just flat out fire him. So maybe they have a candidate in mind, and so I'm not really sure why to do this move right now, especially on a Tuesday. Like if you were going to fire him, maybe fire him on Saturday morning, at least get some of it out of the way. But to come back this week and do that, I thought it was very odd timing. And speaking of Chad Weiberg, the AD, didn't he just get an extension? Did they mention that during the press conference? That I thought the timing of that was also pretty interesting as well.
Yeah.
What do you think, Ben?
Oklahoma State's played 3 football games. Everybody on that roster can hop in the portal today if they want to. To me, if you waited until the 5th football game, you're doing the kids a disservice, but you're really kind of covering your own butt from a roster standpoint. So I would think that there would be some benefit to waiting until the redshirt period is up, but apparently Oklahoma State wanted to pull that plug. And I think the contract situation with the athletic director and all that stuff maybe had a little bit to do with it. Oklahoma State, guys, is a mess right now. The problems go so much deeper than Mike Gundy. You look at Chad Weiberg's contract, which had previously been reported to be kind of, month to month, day to day. Nobody really knew what had happened with Chad's contract when it ended this summer. And it was reported today he had signed a 4-year extension. He was asked about that in the press conference by Bill Haston. And Chad declined to get into the specifics there. He said, I think there's some things to be working out. Barry Trammell did ask Chad, are you going to be the guy to find the next football coach? And Weiberg did make it sound like he would be the guy. So whether or not he has an official contract yet, the athletic director, Chad Weiberg, will be the one to kind of lead up whatever the next coaching search, whatever the next few months look like. And I think it makes sense. If you're going to fire a football coach like Mike Gundy, you had better have somebody to definitively lead the coaching search.
What's the pulse on the fan base? I'm guessing everyone knew it had to happen at some point. What's the feeling of the timing? Maybe the fractured relationship? Take me through that, Ben. I'm sure you're a lot more plugged in than I am. Sure,
Jake. I really feel like everybody feels kind of sad, that this had to happen. I think a lot of people recognize it had to happen. They wish, Mike would have gotten his retirement tour and made it easier on everybody, give them a chance to celebrate Gundy for what he's done for the past 21 years. Interestingly, I think you see a little bit of a generational divide, perhaps. You see some of the freshmen and the sophomores maybe at Oklahoma State were actually booing Mike Gundy off the field because all they know is what Gundy's done for them the last 2 years, which has been terrible. They haven't seen a Big 12 win. And then you see the fans who got on board in 2005, as you can see on the screen right now, and they just know the heights that Mike Gundy has taken this program to. They were in the 2023 Big 12 championship game. They won 2 out of the last 3 Bedlams. Right now, they're the defending Bedlam champ for as long as that goes. So I think you see a little bit of a generational divide where some of these younger fans are ready for a new coach and see how quickly programs can get turned around. But most Oklahoma State fans, I think, look at it and say, man, I wish it wouldn't have ended like that. I don't think they were the ones booing Mike Gundy.
So it's hard to look at that chart and not see the decline. Yeah. That 2011 team, if it weren't for Jared Barnett, they might win the national championship. And in between there, the 2019, the 2021 team's just so good with Spencer Sanders. And you look at it now and where it's trending. Ben, I don't want to wish this evil upon you, but let's just say that's what it looks like for the next 7-8 years. Does that affect Gundy's legacy if that's how the end of the Gundy era and right after looks like?
I don't think so. Jake. I think Gundy's legacy is so set right now. It feels like he's kind of wiping his hands clean. You see kind of a natural break of, in 2023, Oklahoma State reaches the Big 12 championship. They got Ollie Gordon. They'd had great years. And then I think that's where you see the NIL kind of come in, where Oklahoma State was able to get through the first couple years of NIL with the players that they had, the Brennan Presleys, the Ollie Gordons, those kinds of guys. And then these last couple years, Oklahoma State's roster has not been the same at all. And I think that's because their lack of preparedness for the name, image, and likeness era of college sports has finally caught up with them to where even Mike Gundy can't do anything with the roster. I don't think Mike Gundy forgot how to coach, guys. I think his roster got to a point where he wasn't able to coach it. Now, if you say, Mike Gundy, you should have gotten yourself a roster capable of doing that, then sure. But Jake, I don't think Mike Gundy's legacy will be affected too much, because I think people are going to recognize, hey, what Mike did, in the before NIL era was kind of his thing. And then once NIL hit, man, the game changed, and kind of that's separated from maybe what people are going to remember about Mike Gundy.
Duke, what will you remember, or how will you remember Mike Gundy?
Oh man, I just think all good things come to an end at some point. I mean, you think about it. I think just a few years back, even the great Bill Snyder was forced out of Kansas State at some point. So if it could happen to a guy like Bill Snyder, it can happen to anybody. I mean, hell, look at Bill Belichick, where he is now. He won 6 Super Bowls with the Patriots, and they ran his ass out of town. So nobody is ever going to forget Mike Gundy. He built that thing from the ground up. He found success and turned it into a place to really be. I mean, when before he got there, it really wasn't. So one day there is going to be a statue outside of Boone Pickens Stadium for Mike Gundy. He certainly deserves one too. So another thing for me is just for the Big 12 in general, I mean, he was the longest tenured head coach in college football, only behind Kirk Ferentz, and it's going to be really strange not to see him on the sidelines or just, shooting the shit at Big 12 media days. He was the guy that I could always listen to all day long and not be bored, and Mike was never afraid to share his opinion, and for the most part was always honest with the media, so I do appreciate him for being honest, and it's just going to be so strange not to see him, because everything he's done from that program, literally building it from nothing to a top 25 program and a Big 12 title contender year in and year out.
Yeah, it's hitting me now, kind of that, yeah, we won't see Gundy walking along the sidelines. We won't see him come into Ames. I mean, I was thinking about it today. The Matt Campbell and Mike Gundy not rivalry, but matchup, it was so even. And you just look at it, you're like, okay, they won 17 and then it was 18. And it was pretty much every other time they played. Neither one could get one up on each other. And I think Matt Campbell he kind of echoed what you said today, Duke. Just like, it's really easy to have recency bias. And I get a coach is going to defend a coach. And the way that Campbell looks at it is, well, you have those 19 incredible years of taking a program that wasn't much before he got there and legitimately could have won a national championship, and it all comes crashing down. Regardless, I think we all three kind of agree it was the right decision. Now, where there might be some disagreements, who should they hire? Well, I know we all brought a few candidates. What are some initial names that jump off the page?
The hot name I hear from Oklahoma State fans is Zach Robinson, the Atlanta Falcons offensive coordinator, who is, of course, a former Cowboy quarterback, a Gundy guy. And Zach Robinson, man, his name was maybe a little bit hotter last year when the Falcons offense looked a little bit better than it did last Sunday. But Zach Robinson would definitely be a guy who I think could be somebody who, if you're gonna move away from Mike Gundy, man, it just doesn't feel right to to go get a guy with no connection to the university, in my opinion. I think it'd be kind of lessening the blow to a lot of these Oklahoma State fans who grew up watching the high-flying offenses in the early 2010s and want some of that back in Stillwater. So I think Zach Robinson would certainly be a name that almost everybody would be pretty thrilled with. And Colin Klein, another one of those names for me.
That's who I want.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be great for bigger than 12 and everything in this league, man, this crazy league. Dana Holgerson is just a fun name. I thought he's now at Nebraska, the offensive coordinator. You know, that's almost a little too close to Gundy. I feel like those two guys have a little too much in common. Like, if you're going to make a change, you want to maybe make a change in terms of somebody younger and somebody with a different mindset. But if they wanted somebody with a little Gundy in him, I think Holgerson would be that guy.
His face just says it all right there in that photo, doesn't it?
Yeah, that. Ben, I'm sorry. If Dana Holgerson happens, I will.
That's bad.
My money's not up.
I'll be concerned for you. Give me Colin Klein for. One, I think he's a brilliant coach. I think he's going to be a really good head coach within the next 2 years. And, man, the content that would come from that, I would give so much money for that to happen. And I think I think this league is also better when Oklahoma State is good. I think from a perception standpoint, Oklahoma State is still one of those brands that people around the country associate with being at or near the top of the Big 12. And when you think about the perception problem from last year, a lot of that happened because of Oklahoma State and Utah both cratering. So give me Colin Klein to bring Oklahoma State back to the top of the conference. But again, I think it's just a really tough job.
Well, there might be a job opening at Kansas State if Chris Klieman doesn't turn things around. So he'd be the favorite for that job.
I know that's why do you think I want it to happen at Oklahoma State? I've got a couple friends on Twitter that would have a fun night on Twitter if Oklahoma State were to snag. Gosh, I can't help but laugh and think about that scenario. I've got a few names. Surprisingly, you didn't bring any of them up. First one, a guy who knows how to win in the Big 12. He's done it for about a decade now. Matt Campbell. He's always a hot name this time of year. Why not? He's proven it time and time again. He can win when he maybe doesn't have the same amount of resources as everybody else. I think he's a great candidate. The second one would be an up-and-comer. He's taken his bumps and bruises along the way, but he can build an offensive line, and that's what wins in college football. It's Brian Ferentz. Anybody?
You should put that on X.
You're a sicko.
Brian Ferentz. And then the third one, you talked about the connection to Oklahoma and Oklahoma State being important. How about a guy who's won probably more than anyone in the state? Bob Stoops. He's not coaching right now. Well,
hell would freeze over if that
Take your pick, Ben, on those three.
I'd go with Lincoln Riley. How about Lincoln Riley instead?
Yes.
If we're throwing those names in.
If USC craters, which I don't expect them to, I think they're pretty good. That honestly would be way more realistic than the other three, I think. But no, I was just having some fun on the three most unrealistic candidates. Duke, did you have any candidates that didn't cross over with Ben?
Yeah, he mentioned Zach Robinson. I just got to say that I think that would be the top candidate. I think he would be a very popular pick. A couple other ones. I have G.J. Kinney from Texas State, maybe the fastest rising young head coach in college football right now. Won 8 games in his first 2 seasons there as the Bobcats head coach. Back-to-back bowl games for the first time in program history. From Texas, he actually played his college ball at Tulsa, so he does have some ties up there. A couple other names I threw out. John Summerall at Tulane. Very popular name on everybody's radar. Success at Troy, had 2 great seasons there and won 9 games at Tulane. He's also from Texas, but I think there's probably going to be an all-out bidding war for him from some other programs around the country. So lastly, kind of one of my big candidates here, Eric Morris from North Texas. I know his record at North Texas isn't great the first 2 years, but they are 3-0 this season. That's Matt Van Winkle's team. That offense knows how to put up points. Had a ton of success at the FCS level here in San Antonio and Incarnate Word. He can recruit Texas, and he's proven to build programs over the years. So to me, he'd probably be more of a gamble pick. couple honorable mentions I threw out. Jake, you mentioned Colin Klein. I think a really good one there. Alex Galesh from Southern Florida. I think that's a great pick as well. I would also maybe keep a name. I don't know how often it's being thrown out there. Oklahoma's OC, Ben Arbuckle. He's a very young head coach. I think he's only like 30 years old, the offensive coordinator there. I think he's only been a coordinator for, 2 or 3 seasons now. So still pretty green, hasn't been a head coach. I don't know if he would make the move over to Stillwater, but that's another name I'd probably keep an eye on.
So I was trying to think because this isn't going to be the last job to open up. Heck, it's not even the first. UCLA and Virginia Tech are already open, and I think I would place Oklahoma State as the best or the second best job in that group. I would still say Virginia Tech is probably still in a better spot, but I'd much rather have the Oklahoma State job than the UCLA job. I don't think that's debatable. Who are the biggest names going to be in this cycle? Is it Golish and Summerall? Is there someone else I'm missing? Are those realistic? I guess would be the question for me.
I don't know how realistic they are. I think Zach Robinson, at this point, when the timing of the firing of Gundy, I think Zach Robinson's got to be the guy. And knowing Zach, I'm be sure that he would want to get the hell out of Atlanta right now because they are looking too hot. So I'm sure the first chance he can get out of there, he'll take.
Can I close this out with the Mike Gundy story? Unless you got another thought.
Oh,
Jake.
Please, Ben. Go for it.
Go ahead.
Because, what else are we supposed to do? This is what people remember about Gundy, right? Are the stories and just the craziness, the rattlesnakes and all that stuff. And even being around him for a few years, you can just tell a million of them. The time he unplugged a refrigerator because it was too loud, or I've seen the bad too. I've seen him unjustly call a reporter an ass. I've seen all of the things that people remember about Mike Gundy. But a personal favorite was when I asked him about his one-armed push-up technique. He had done his one-arm push-ups on a video, and I asked him what the technique was. So instead of just verbally doing it, he got down right there in the middle of a media scrum and started doing his one-arm push-up. It's weight distribution for us guys to try at home. Spread your weight out. But he asked if I'd seen the movie Rocky, and actually I hadn't. So I told him bits and pieces, and he didn't like that much. He said, "Man, you're watching too much SpongeBob."
He truly is one of a kind, and I kind of felt it when I was in Dallas this year that this might be the only time I get to hear Mike Gundy talk when I was at his press conference, because I didn't see it with the team, and unfortunately it's probably been even worse than most of us feared. So to hear Gundy talk, he truly is one of those final coaches in the old guard of there's no coach speak when it comes to Gundy. It's you're going to get what you're going to get, and that's pretty incredible. And he'll be missed big time in the Big 12. Is there any shot that he takes another job? Do you see him accepting a Group of 5 job, going maybe to the FCS level, or is this it for him?
To me, Jake, there's a little bit of a vindictive streak to Mike Gundy. We saw that there's been some reporting one way and the other way about if not he was presented with an opportunity to close it out. But if Mike Gundy said, "Hey, I don't want to close it out. Pay me my $15 million. I'm done." I don't know. I don't think I could see him taking an FCS head coaching job. But what if one of his Big 12 buddies calls him up and says, "Hey, will you be an analyst? Go stick it to the man." I could see Mike Gundy doing that for sure. That's what Gary Patterson did for a little while.
Yep. He did it at Texas, I believe, which that had to ruffle some feathers in Fort Worth. Iowa State offensive analyst Mike Gundy's got a decent little ring to it. That'd be the best of both worlds for you, Ben. And so our incredible producer, Aiden Wyatt, found the push-ups video, and he's going to play it for us right now. I'm excited to see this.
Max out anymore because I'm a little concerned about the old pec tear at 55 years old. I don't know, 250-ish, 260, something like that maybe. I don't know. I'm trying to keep up with my youngest, but that's going to be an issue, I think. So
I tried to do a one-arm push-up at home the other day. Didn't work out.
You didn't get it?
No, what's your secret? What's your secret?
Well, you got it. Did you watch Rocky?
Yeah.
Okay. Then you got to be able to go like that. So you see what you do is, you're a smart kid, and you got your backup. Is your backup here?
No, he's at home.
Okay. Well, then you might need him because two of you are smarter than one of you.
That's right.
It's weight distribution. So it's not really strength. So if you distribute your weight evenly, it looks much better. And if you watch the movie, have you not seen that movie?
Bits and pieces.
Oh my gosh.
Of course you haven't seen it. That's
You're watching too much SpongeBob, man. You got to get off SpongeBob.
That's a great way to tie this up. Great journalism out of you, Ben.
That was good. I remember.
And I did watch Rocky. I did watch it after that. So don't come at me. I did watch Rocky and it was very good.
Well, I might go pour out a glass of Steeple Ridge bourbon for the great Mike Gundy. Might go watch the "I'm a Man, I'm 40" speech, and we'll have fun remembering the Mike Gundy era. I'm sure over the course of the season. But Ben, thank you for joining us on this special edition of Iowa Everywhere Instant Reaction. Derek, thanks for giving us your Tuesday night.
Thank you.
A company man right there.
I know. I'll do anything for the company. Ben, I appreciate your input, man. That was really good.
Thanks a lot, fellas.
We will be back on a normal Bigger Than 12 on Sunday. Thank you for joining us on this instant reaction podcast here on Iowa Everywhere.